What if I told you some of the most powerful technologies shaping your daily life didn't come from Silicon Valley or New York or even Washington, D.C.? What if they came from a place most Americans think of only for kangaroos, beaches, and the outback? Here's the twist. Australia, yes, Australia, has been quietly creating inventions so revolutionary that they're transforming America in ways you probably never realized. From the Wi-Fi in your pocket, to the life-saving devices in your hospitals, to futuristic tech that lets people type with their thoughts, these breakthroughs are reshaping not just lives, but entire industries. So buckle up, because today, we're diving into 10 Australian inventions that could change America forever. And quick challenge for you. As you watch, I want you to count how many of these inventions you already use in your daily life. Drop that number in the comments when you're done. I bet it's higher than you think. Picture this. You wake up, roll over, grab your phone, and check your notifications. Instagram, YouTube, email, all loaded instantly. You don't think twice, because Wi-Fi feels like air, invisible everywhere. But here's the shocker. This modern lifeline wasn't born in Silicon Valley. It was invented in Australia. Back in the early 1990s, scientists at CSIRO, Australia's government research agency, cracked a huge problem: how to transmit radio waves indoors without them bouncing around and garbling the signal. Their breakthrough became the foundation of what we now call Wi-Fi. Fast forward to America today, coffee shops, airports, homes, hospitals, even your Tesla, it all runs on the Aussie discovery. Without it, your iPhone would be little more than an expensive calculator. Here's the kicker. CSIRO earned billions in royalties after suing tech giants who tried to use the tech without paying. That's right. Australia forced some of the biggest American corporations to cut a check just to keep your internet running. Think about that for a moment. An invention from halfway across the world is the bloodstream of America's digital life. Quick break. If you're watching this video on Wi-Fi right now, type "connected down under" in the comments. Let's see how many of us are literally powered by Aussie genius as we speak. Every time you step onto an airplane, there's one silent guardian that could hold the key to your survival. It's not the pilot, it's not the engines. It's a box, painted bright orange, that almost every American traveler has heard of. The black box. And here's the part almost no one knows. It was invented by an Australian scientist named Dr. David Warren. In the 1950s, Warren's father died in a plane crash. Years later, as a researcher, he asked a simple but groundbreaking question. What if planes could record everything happening in the cockpit? The result was the first flight data recorder, what we now call the black box. By the 1960s, it was mandatory on all commercial aircraft in Australia. Soon after, the rest of the world, including the US, followed. Think about the ripple effect. Every time an American plane goes down, investigators rely on an Aussie invention to find out why. Without it, modern air travel would be flying blind. And here's a chilling twist. The black box is designed to survive almost anything. Fire, pressure, crushing impact, even days under the ocean. It's basically indestructible, which means Australia gave America not just a tool for answers, but a shield of accountability. So next time you fly from New York to LA, remember, your safety is tied to a breakthrough from down under. Imagine this. Your heart stops. Silence. No rhythm. No chance. For most of human history, that was the end. But in 1926, two Australians, Dr. Mark Lidwell and physicist Edgar Booth, created a machine that could restart a failing heart by delivering electrical pulses. It was the birth of the world's first electronic pacemaker. The early versions were bulky, even a little terrifying. One prototype was strapped onto a patient's body, with electrodes pushing life directly into the heart. But crude as it was, it worked. And from that seed grew the modern pacemaker, the sleek, implantable device now saving millions of lives worldwide, especially in America. Here's the jaw-dropper. Today, over 3 million Americans live with pacemakers. That's 3 million lives extended, birthdays celebrated, and families kept whole, all thanks to an Australian invention. But it doesn't stop at survival. Pacemaker tech keeps evolving, smaller, smarter, wirelessly monitored, and America, with its massive healthcare system, is one of the biggest beneficiaries. So the next time you hear the steady beep-beep of a heart monitor in a US hospital, remember, there's a little bit of Australia in every beat. Quick question for you. If you or someone you know has ever had their life touched by heart tech, drop a heart in the comments. Let's fill this section with gratitude. Close your eyes and imagine silence. Not just a quiet room, but total, unbreakable silence. No voices, no music, no laughter. For many people born with profound hearing loss, that silence was once permanent. Until an Australian doctor named Graham Clark refused to accept it. In the 1970s, Clark pioneered the world's first multi-channel cochlear implant, a device that bypasses damaged parts of the ear and directly stimulates the auditory nerve. The result? People who were once completely deaf could suddenly hear. Here's the emotional twist. The very first person to receive the implant cried when they heard their loved one's voice for the first time. And ever since, the stories have been countless. Children in America hearing their parents for the first time, veterans regaining part of what they lost, everyday people reconnecting with a world they thought was gone. Today, the cochlear implant, often called the bionic ear, is used by hundreds of thousands worldwide, with the U.S. being one of the biggest adopters. American hospitals, schools, and families rely on an Australian breakthrough to restore one of the most human experiences of all. And here's something powerful. This wasn't just science. Clark was inspired by watching his own father struggle with hearing loss. He turned personal pain into global healing. Real quick, if you're watching and your life has ever been touched by hearing loss, or you know someone who could benefit from this tech, type "Hear the Change" in the comments. Let's spread awareness together. Burns are one of the most devastating injuries a human can endure. They don't just scar the skin, they scar the soul. Survivors often face years of painful grafts, surgeries, and trauma. But in the early 2000s, an Australian surgeon named Dr. Fiona Wood developed a medical miracle: spray-on skin. Instead of harvesting large chunks of skin from a patient's body, Wood figured out how to take just a small sample of healthy skin cells, multiply them rapidly in the lab, and then spray them directly onto burns. The healing time was cut dramatically, from weeks to days in many cases. When America saw this in action after severe burn incidents, doctors were stunned. Imagine soldiers recovering from battlefield injuries in a fraction of the time. Imagine burn victims in U.S. hospitals being spared from years of grueling treatment. That's the potential impact of this Aussie innovation. And here's the kicker. Fiona Wood was catapulted into global recognition after the 2002 Bali bombings, when she used spray-on skin to save dozens of lives. Since then, her technique has been refined, tested, and adopted in medical centers around the world, including in the United States. This isn't just healing, it's hope, bottled and sprayed. Here's a moment for you. If you believe innovations like this deserve more attention and funding in America, comment "Spray Hope" down below. Let's get people talking about how science can rebuild lives. Picture a hot July afternoon in Texas. The sun's blazing, the grill is firing, the drinks are out, but they're getting warm fast. What's the one thing keeping your ice-cold cans from turning lukewarm? That humble, trusty cooler. But here's the twist. The portable cooler as we know it, the esky, was invented in Australia back in the 1950s. The name esky actually became so iconic down under that Aussies now use it as a generic term for any cooler, kind of like Kleenex for tissues. The invention was simple but genius, an insulated box that kept food and drinks cold for hours. It revolutionized outdoor culture in Australia first, then spread across the world. And in America? Let's be honest, what's a summer BBQ, a tailgate, or a 4th of July without a cooler full of drinks? From backyard parties to beach trips, Aussies literally handed Americans the key to chilling out. Quick audience check. What's your go-to drink that has to stay cold in the cooler? Drop it in the comments. I'll bet the replies will look like a full supermarket aisle. But don't get too comfortable, because Australia didn't just stop at making summer cooler. They went on to reshape something even bigger: America's money. Number 7. Polymer banknotes. Money reinvented. When was the last time you really looked at a dollar bill? Paper, fragile, easy to rip, and let's be honest, pretty easy to counterfeit with modern tech. Now imagine a version of money that's stronger, cleaner, lasts longer, and nearly impossible to fake. That's exactly what Australia created: polymer banknotes. In 1988, the Reserve Bank of Australia and the CSIRO rolled out the world's first plastic currency. Unlike paper, these notes don't wear out quickly. They're resistant to water and dirt, and they feature see-through security windows that counterfeiters can't copy. Now here's the kicker. Over 50 countries use polymer notes today, including Canada and the UK. But America, still using paper. Why does this matter? Because the US spends billions each year replacing worn-out bills. Polymer notes last 2.5 times longer, saving massive taxpayer money while slashing counterfeiting. Imagine if the US dollar adopted Aussie tech. Suddenly, America's cash would be cleaner, safer, and a lot harder for criminals to duplicate. And it's not just about durability. Polymer notes are also more hygienic, a big deal in a post-pandemic world. Studies show they carry fewer bacteria than paper money, which could reduce the spread of germs in a nation where cash still changes hands daily. Quick question. If you think the US should finally ditch paper money for polymer, type stronger dollar in the comments. Let's see how many people are ready for a cleaner, smarter currency. But money is only as useful as the places it can take you. And for that, America now relies on an Aussie-built roadmap. Number 8. Google Maps. The world in your pocket. Think about this. When was the last time you used a paper map? Probably never, or at least not in the last decade. Today, if you want to get anywhere, you just pull out your phone, tap Google Maps, and let it guide you turn by turn. But here's the wild part. Google Maps wasn't born in California. Its roots are 100% Australian. In the early 2000s, two brothers, Lars and Jens Rasmussen, along with their team in Sydney, developed the original software that became Google Maps. Google saw the potential, acquired the company, and turned it into the navigation empire we now depend on every single day. Fast forward to America today. Delivery drivers, rideshare apps, road trips, even emergency services, everything runs on Aussie tech. Without it, half the US economy would get lost on the freeway. And here's something you probably didn't know. More than 1 billion people worldwide use Google Maps every month. That's 1 out of every 8 humans on Earth. So every time you ask your phone for directions, you're leaning on Australian innovation to find your way. It's more than convenience, it's infrastructure. Without Google Maps, Uber wouldn't work. Amazon delivery would be chaos. Road trips? Forget it. Australia quietly built the digital compass of modern America. Quick check-in. Comment your state below. But while maps revolutionized life on land, the next Aussie breakthrough changed the game on the water by flipping yacht racing upside down. Number 9. The winged keel. Sailing's secret weapon. At first glance, it's just a boat. But in 1983, a single Australian invention shocked the entire sporting world and humiliated America's sailing elite. Enter the winged keel. Designed by Aussie yacht designer Ben Lexen, this small but radical change to the bottom of a sailboat gave it better speed, balance, and maneuverability. The result? Australia too stunned the world by winning the America's Cup, snapping America's 132-year winning streak, the longest in sports history. Think about that. For over a century, no one could touch America in yacht racing. Then, one clever Aussie design toppled the streak in a single competition. It was David versus Goliath, and David had fins. But the impact didn't stop in sports. The winged keel became a case study in engineering innovation, inspiring new designs in naval architecture and marine engineering. Its principles are still studied today in universities and shipyards around the world, including in the US. And here's the fun twist. To this day, America's sailing teams keep a close eye on Aussie innovations, knowing that one clever tweak from down under can sink even the mightiest American advantage. Drop a anchor emoji in the comments if you love stories where the underdog completely rewrites the rules. But boats and maps are just the beginning. Australia's most jaw-dropping gift to America might not be in your pocket or on your summer trip, but inside your mind itself. Number 10. Synchron's brain-computer interface. Typing with your thoughts. Now we've saved the wildest for last. Forget Wi-Fi, forget maps, forget money. Australia's newest invention is straight out of science fiction. Imagine typing an email without touching a keyboard, controlling a phone, without lifting a finger, communicating with loved ones, using only your thoughts. That's exactly what an Australian company called Synchron is making possible. Their invention is a brain-computer interface, a device that slips into a blood vessel in your brain and wirelessly translates your thoughts into digital commands. Unlike Elon Musk's Neuralink, which requires risky brain surgery, Synchron's method is minimally invasive. It's already been tested on patients in the United States who are paralyzed, giving them back the ability to text, email, and interact with technology. And here's the mind-blowing part. Some of America's biggest names, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, even tech companies like Apple, are backing Synchron. They know this isn't just medical technology. This is the future of human-computer interaction. Think about the ripple effect in America. Veterans with spinal injuries could regain independence. Patients with ALS could communicate again. Everyday people might one day ditch keyboards and screens altogether. From Wi-Fi to pacemakers, Australia has shaped America's present. But with Synchron, Australia may actually shape America's future. Do you think brain-computer tech is exciting or terrifying? Type future if you're ready, or not yet if you think it's too risky. Let's see how divided the comments get on this one. So there you have it. 10 incredible Australian inventions that are already changing America, or soon could. Wi-Fi turned the world wireless. The black box made air travel safer. The pacemaker kept hearts beating. The cochlear implant gave silence a voice. Spray-on skin rebuilt lives. The esky made summers cooler. Polymer banknotes could reinvent U.S. money. Google Maps gave America its digital compass. The winged keel taught the world to rethink design. And Synchron's brain interface might redefine what it means to be human. Not bad for a country most people just picture with kangaroos and beaches, right? Here's the bigger truth. Innovation doesn't always come from the loudest voices or the flashiest tech hubs. Sometimes it comes quietly from the other side of the world, until suddenly, it's shaping your everyday life in ways you never imagined. Which of these inventions blew your mind the most? Drop it in the comments. And if you learned something new today, hit that like button, share this video with a friend, and subscribe for more stories that'll change the way you see the world. Because as Australia just proved, the next big breakthrough might already be here, waiting to change your life.